What is up, everybody?
I think something went wrong. We're early. Aren't we
early?
normally on at 7? What happened?
Oh, all my clocks say 7.
Your clock says, is it me? Because mine's a 6:16 Eastern Standard Time.
Mine says 7 on the dot. Oh, you know what? I moved time zones.
Oh, where are you?
I'm in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean.
Oh, well, that explains it. Okay, so it must be
underwater sea base.
You must be 45 minutes ahead of where you used to be. Okay.
It's a special time zone.
Anybody watching knows that this isn't a mistake. He's just temporarily in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, which puts him exactly 45 minutes ahead of where he otherwise would be. So we're on time.
We're government funded now. So that's what,
Yeah, we're subsidized.
Yeah, we're government contracted YouTubers now. So we got some funding, and I decided to use it to build a sea base. So
unrelated to the election results, by the way.
Yeah, nothing to do with that. This was in the talks.
It was in motion already.
It's been in talks for like 4
years.
TGG
Plus, TGG Plus has been pursuing government subsidies for a while now, and now that it's happened, here we are. We're not 45 minutes early. We're on time by centered Atlantic Ocean standards.
Yeah, you're actually late or early. Who knows?
Early. I'm early. You're on time, which is what matters. It's your channel.
Exactly. It is another episode of TGG. I'm here as always with my co-host Evan Prince.
That's me.
It's another beautiful Friday evening. We got some news to talk about. The fake game that we said, I believe, on this very show would never release.
It was the episode with Jared. Jared said he refused to acknowledge that game would ever release.
Yeah, it's actually coming out. Ubisoft is getting sued. Couple more things to talk about here and there. If you like the show, don't forget to like the stream. Support the channel in any way you can.
We need it. The subsidies are not enough. We have to have the support.
$12 million contract only gets you one sea base. Okay, we need 2.
At least. You ever played Phantom Pain?
Yeah.
We need more than one.
You can't just deal with one FOB. That's rookie shit. All right. But we'll get to that in a moment. How was your week? What have you been playing? What have you been doing?
My week was pretty good, man. So what I've been playing is probably a little bit less interesting than what I've been watching, which I'll talk about in a second. I've been playing Far Cry Instincts. I think I told you about that. You ever play that game before?
Which one was that? Was that the 80s themed? No, that was
that's Blood Dragon.
Yeah. I think I remember this game, but I don't know if... Yeah, I did play this.
It's the one where you get like cat powers.
Yes, yeah. Vaguely remember this.
Yeah, it's the edgiest Far Cry game of the entire series. And technically, it's a reimagining of the original Far Cry, but that is actually the canonical one. Because the original Far Cry was developed by Crytek, and all of the other ones were developed by Ubisoft. So Instincts is technically the canonical Far Cry 1 to the other Far Cry games.
Oh, shit. So Far Cry 1 is not canonical Far Cry 1.
Correct. Yeah, because it wasn't developed by Ubisoft, and it's set like in a completely different time.
Isn't Far Cry 2 like the best one?
Most people I think Far Cry 3 is the best one, but Far Cry 2 has an enormous fan base. I'm one of them. I think Far Cry 2 is probably one of my favorites. I think I like Far Cry Instincts more, but Far Cry 2 is a vastly superior game.
Yeah, I remember I played it a lot when I was a kid. Rented it.
Far Cry 2?
Yeah, Far Cry 2.
Oh yeah, Far Cry 2 is fucking awesome. It's definitely one of my favorites, and Far Cry Instincts is not a good game. I just really like it, if that makes sense.
Oh, it's fair. You're allowed to like whatever you want.
Yeah, it's a bad game that I really like. But something I've been watching. I watched about an episode and a half of The Penguin. Keeping up with that at all?
I have not watched a second of it. How is it?
I think you would probably like it, actually.
Is it bone chilling, slow burn, atmospheric?
You like mafia like crime
I
dramas and
do.
stuff like
I
like
do.
Sopranos and Godfather and stuff like that. It's that.
Okay.
It is okay, here's the thing. It's not like my favorite. It's not really my kind of show, but I am enjoying it. I think it's really really good. I say it's not my kind of show because I have like a meathead quality to me, where if I go a certain amount of time without like a choreographed fight scene like Batman showing up, I'm like, what am I watching here? It's like,
Yeah.
okay, it's Batman is like here, but they don't really ever talk about him. It's about the fucking Penguin, and it is basically a Sopranos style show. Batman doesn't get mentioned; he's not really talked about. You get an occasional little fan servicey name drop of something, but it's pretty
Like the
rare. I
Falcones or
mean,
something.
yeah. If you change if you change less than 10 names, you wouldn't even know it's related to Batman at all. I guess that's what they were going for, but it is a super high quality show. Yeah, yeah, like Hank Smith said, it's probably better than it really has a right to be.
I like Colin Farrell a lot, so maybe I'll check it out.
I do too, actually. I'm a casual Colin Farrell enjoyer.
He's good. He's in a lot of what's that director's Yorgos Lanthimos. He's in a lot of his movies. Those are really good.
One of my favorite movies with him is often considered by most to be one of the worst movies of all time.
What is it?
The Total Recall remake.
You
ever seen that?
No.
That is one of my favorite movies of all time. And
Damn.
if you ever have a mind to watch it, you'll know why. Because it is the most high octane, nonstop action movie slop you can imagine.
When you said that you liked it and nobody else did, I think I figured I could tell what 90% of the movie was, basically.
Yeah, it's nonstop action movie slop, and it's incredible. I love it, but a lot of people really hate that movie.
Clockwork says,
he did great in it, though.
Clockwork says In Bruges is a great movie. That's a fantastic movie.
Yeah, actually, I really like that movie a lot too.
It's funny because you're saying like you watch The Penguin, and that's something I would probably like. I watched something this week. I didn't finish it, but I have started it. You're gonna be shocked. I started watching Casino Royale.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you think it's so far?
So I started Casino Royale because I was like, I guess Daniel Craig isn't James Bond anymore.
He's not. That's correct.
And I've heard so many good things about him as James Bond. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just watch one of these and see if I like it. For some reason, I was just feeling in the mood. I was like, I want like an action-y movie.
That's a good choice, and that's probably his best Bond film. You picked really well.
Well, it's the first one, right?
It's his first film as Bond, and arguably his best.
Well, so I started watching it. I do like it, and it's made me want to watch the other ones, but it's a little much sometimes. I'll say that.
Did you get to the torture sequence already?
I have not. I've been stuck in a mire of the longest chase sequences you've ever experienced in your entire fucking life. It's okay. Like they're really good chase sequences, and then I'm just like, can we just be done with it? Like it's still going. Holy fuck.
Do you want to know why I think those chase sequences are so long?
Why?
Casino Royale is a very short book.
Oh, okay.
So I just read Casino Royale. I own all of the original Ian Fleming books. Mm-hmm. So I read Casino Royale earlier this year. And after I finished Casino Royale, I moved on to the second book, Live and Let Die. And Live and Let Die that book, the second Bond novel, is longer than Casino Royale twice over.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, but Live and Let Die is like the size of what you would imagine a normal novel would be. Casino Royale is like half of that. It's like barely more than a novella. So they kind of had to. Because the movie is really close to the book outside of a few different things. The main thing being Mads Mikkelsen's interpretation of that villain is nothing like the book's character, but it's short. So They kind of had to pad it out, and I think a
Yeah.
lot of the padding is
Chase
chase
Yeah.
sequences.
Well, I didn't. I like Mads Mikkelsen so far. He's really good.
Yeah,
But
I think he's actually a little bit better than the book's portrayal of the villain, which is rare.
There's not a lot of movies that I've seen him in that I would say he gave a bad performance in. Have you ever seen Another Round?
No, I haven't seen that one.
It's a Danish. I think it's a Danish movie because he's Danish, so he's done a lot of Danish movies. But it was whatever. I think they're actually remaking it, which is a crime. This movie should not be remade. But it's about him and his buddies, and I think they're all going through some sort of like life turmoil, and they all decide to start like drinking, or no, like one of them decides to start drinking during the day at like school because he's a school teacher, and he figures out that he can do it. Like if he just does it a little bit, then it like makes everything easier, and he's more charismatic and all this shit. So they all decide to start this experiment where they like see how much they can possibly drink during the day and still function.
What could go wrong?
Dude, it's great. Exactly. And that's the whole movie right there. What could go wrong? But it's so fucking good. It's a great movie. They're all like good actors. And Mads Mikkelsen is like the main character. He's great in it.
I've never seen him in anything that he didn't kill.
Yeah. He murders.
Yeah, he killed that Star Wars movie he was in, and I didn't even like that movie.
Yeah. So I mean, he was good in it so far, and it's not like a bad movie or anything. It's just like, I don't know. It's just some of the one specific chase sequence. I think it was like the first chase sequence,
the parkour sequence.
Yeah, it's kind of so annoying because you're seeing the guy that he's chasing do all of these insane stunts, and then you're just seeing him do it like a little worse every single time. And it takes like 10 seconds, so you'll see this guy do it really fast, and then you'll see Bond do it slower and worse. And I guess that develops some tension, and lets you know that the character is like ultimately human. But I don't know. It was just like, how many fucking times? Okay, so now he's gonna jump off the roof.
Every movement.
Yeah. But it is good so far. It's fun. It was fulfilling what I wanted at the time, which was like just some fun action shit.
As a fan of that film, I'll tell you, I actually agree with your criticisms on that. And I hope you do complete it, but the ending also, in a different way, not through chase sequences, but the ending of the film also drags on. And not in obviously not in a good way, but that film is probably 30 to 45 minutes longer than it should have been. It does not justify its runtime. But I just want to tell you, the torture sequence, in case you're wondering, whenever you watch it, it is completely accurate to the novel.
Okay.
So if you're watching the torture sequence and you're thinking, was this in the book? It was. Okay. Everything about it is perfect.
Okay.
But it does drag on a lot more than it should. And also, I could not disagree with Mike more any more than I do. Skyfall fucking sucks. That movie is fucking awful. As a Bond fan, skip it. Don't even watch. You've seen The Dark Knight, right?
Yeah.
You've seen Skyfall.
I'd like to watch The Dark Knight again.
Well, a way worse. You want to watch The Dark Knight, but it's a lot worse.
Yeah. I'm just
watch Skyfall.
Well, see, the thing about me is when I get into something like a series or whatever, I just have to watch everything. It doesn't matter.
I've got the bad news is that Quantum of Solace is the next one, and it's fucking terrible because it was made during the writer's strike and it has no plot.
Okay. Well,
it's not based on a novel. It has no plot. It's just a series of action sequences and justifications to get to the next action sequence.
I don't know. The only thing I don't really like about it is probably something, it's just a me thing, but as I was watching it, I realized that I really don't like British spy stuff. I really don't like British stuff in general.
Oh, I love British stuff.
I know
like
you do.
That.
Yeah. But I just don't, I would much rather like an MGS setting or like a Jack Reacher, you know, like just an American dude who works for the US government. That's badass,
It's funny.
you know?
It's funny that you say that because both of those properties attribute almost all of their inspiration to Bond.
100%. But the thing is with Bond stuff, from everything I've seen, it's much more like classy, for lack of a better term, you know?
It definitely is.
It's
a lot less gritty.
Suits and
Very
watches
suave.
and, you know, shit like that. And I'm like, I just want to see where's the family in all this? Where's the muscle cars? Where's Vin Diesel?
The Fast and the Furious. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's something I don't love about it. Is like the elegance. But you know,
suaveness. I mean, that's part of Bond's character. Well, you picked the right Bond then, because Daniel Craig has the least amount of that of every Bond. And it's honestly one of my criticisms. I think Craig is my third favorite Bond. I think Connery is my favorite, which his movies are from way before either of us were born. Brosnan's probably my second. I'm not a huge fan of most of the Craig movies, but they have the least amount of that you're talking about.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, so I'll probably finish that movie at some point this week. I'll report back with my findings.
If you ever have a mind to, I would love to hear your thoughts on one or two of the old Connery flicks.
I think I started to watch one of the Sean Connery movies like a while ago, a few years ago or something, but I'll give one of them a try.
Yeah. They're old, so I mean they're harder to get through probably for people like us who are so used to like cool special effects and action sequences.
Dude, it's way easier for me to watch an old movie than it is a new movie.
Really? Okay, well, might be easier for you. I would recommend Goldfinger. That's a good place to start. Goldfinger. Okay. It's unanimously considered to be the best Bond flick ever made. I don't think it's my favorite, but it's definitely up there. I think Goldfinger is probably one of the greatest Bond films ever made.
In addition to that, I also started playing a game this week. I started playing Slitterhead.
Really? Is it good? I wanted to play that one.
It is. I know you said originally that you weren't super excited because of the switching protagonist.
Yeah, the switching thing.
It isn't really like that, because the protagonist that you technically play is the being behind all of it, and then there's like a main protagonist that you control. And
is that the guy with the bike helmet?
I think it's a girl or something. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not too deep into it. I'm only like a few hours into it, but it is fucking peak. Like, it feels like a game that came out on the PS3 or the PS2 that got mixed reviews when it came out and then became a cult classic.
This is my favorite kind.
Dude, it's fucking great. It captures that feeling so well. It's not perfect. The combat is like kind of clunky. Some of the systems are kind of weird, but it's like trying so many new weird little things. Like you can switch between people in combat. You can swap to random civilians in combat and fight enemies. So you can swap to a random guy, hit the enemy a few times to distract him, and then swap back to your character and then hit him in the back while he's like attacking this random civilian and like killing them. And
that sounds really cool.
The more you swap in combat, like the more damage you do. Like if you swap, then you get like a damage boost for like a few attacks or something.
Yeah, so it's kind of it's incentivizing utilization of that mechanic.
Yeah, it encourages that. There's all kinds of different like upgrade systems and stuff. And it's laid out in this like really weird like mission structure. It's not like an open world or anything. There's just like missions you go through. And it just feels so like it's janky in all of the ways that you won't mind. And it is great in all of the ways that are really important for it to be great. So it creates this like perfect feeling of like, this isn't the best game of all time, but it's really fucking cool.
Okay, that's kind of exciting. Are you gonna do a video on it, or is this just strictly for fun?
No, I don't. I mean, it's very rare that I do a video on a new game, you know.
Yeah, makes sense.
I think like unless because I don't know, the way I kind of look at it is like unless some time has passed, or because if you release a video too soon after a game comes out, then you're fighting for the spot. You know, you're fighting everybody else for the early review spot. And if you release a video too late, then, you know, interest has died down. If you don't wait long enough, then there's not enough interest, you know, time for interest to crop back up. It's kind of weird. It's almost like you either got to get a video out as soon as a game comes out or like a year later, you know?
Yeah.
So,
which is where you're at with Alan Wake 2 now, is about a year later.
Exactly. Yeah, so probably not. I'm just playing it for fun. You know me, I play like every fucking game that comes out. So yeah, but I would recommend it. It is fucking cool. It's nothing like I thought it was going to be when it was first revealed at the Game Awards. It was like 2 or 3 years ago, but it is dope as fuck.
Dude, that sounds cool. Yeah, I want to play that one. It was looking cool.
It's got like bad translation issues too. Like there's like really awkward like voice, like dialogue and like translation readings and stuff. It's very charming. It feels very charming. It's like there's a quality to some art that when you're experiencing it, it's very easy for the audience to become alienated from the creator of something, especially if when you're playing it, it feels like there was a lot of cooks in the kitchen, or if a game feels super high budget, or if a movie feels super high budget and you're watching it or you're playing it, it can feel it can be very easy for this to feel like, you know, there's 20 steps removed from the person who had this idea and me. And I feel like sometimes when games are a little bit more janky, when they're a little imperfect, when they're more endearing, it feels like there's a lot less steps between you and the creator. And it feels a little bit more like you're playing somebody's like vision. Like I feel like,
I think I know what you mean.
Yeah. I feel like that game, it's kind of hard. This would be like an idea to articulate in a script. So I'm trying to like articulate it on the fly. So it's probably kind of confusing, but like, you know, it feels like you're playing somebody's vision. It kind of in the way that an indie game feels like that. It feels very personal, sort of.
Yeah, I get that.
Oh, your mic is quiet. I think it's cutting out.
Check.
Oh. Nope. Keep going.
Got to work out that.
Oh, you had it for a second.
Damn it. Check. What we got? Okay, that should be it. Got to work out that short.
Woo!
It's part of my branding.
That's true. That's part of the Evan Prince branding.
That's right.
Mic issues, XLR cable issues.
That's right.
All right, let's talk about stuff. We were talking about this a little bit before, but you know, we said, I mean, did you really think Stalker 2 was gonna? Did you think it was gonna come out this year?
I didn't know if it would come out this year, but I actually was pretty confident it was gonna come out. I watched I read some interview stuff from the developers way earlier, shortly after they announced it, and they seemed really confident. Like it gave off the impression to me that they were pretty far along in development. And I don't know, I kind of suspected that it would probably be released, and I don't know, I'm not super surprised that it's coming out, but I'm a little surprised that it's coming out this year. I kind of suspected it would get delayed till 2025.
Yeah, I thought it was going to get delayed again. It's been delayed, I think, a few times now. And it's also been in development for fucking ever, over 10 years. So yeah, but Stalker 2 it's officially gold. It is gold. It is coming out on November 20th. In 5 days, you will be able to play Stalker 2. It's kind of weird. It's just kind of surreal. You know, there's all, when you pay attention to gaming a lot, there's always these games that they stick around. The titles stick around in the minds of people and in headlines and stuff, because over the years they just, whatever, they enter development hell, they stay in development for too long, shit happens, they get delayed, blah blah blah. Like Duke Nukem Forever was one of those games for a while. Dead Island 2 released. Dead Island 2 was also one of those finally games.
Released.
So it is always weird when these games, like it'll be the same way when Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2.
Oh, you think that's actually happening?
Well, now that the Chinese room has it, probably, I would say.
Yeah, I guess that's true. They did turn it over, dude. The game that we were supposed to get, like it doesn't exist anymore.
No, I don't think it does with any of these games. You don't develop a game for 13
You know what's
years
insane? When they announced, this is a tangent, I'm sorry, but when they announced the release date for Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, it was 6 months away.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I do, yeah.
They said it's coming out this date, 6 months away. It must have been so close to completion. So like, what the fuck?
Well, I think honestly, the timeline is so fuzzy in my head at this point, but but I think it was supposed to come out. They announced like the quarter, and then it just came and went, and they didn't say anything about it for like a year.
No, there was a solid release date. It was like February something 2019.
Well, I know at some point there was a quarter. Like maybe this was after that. That's what I'm saying. I think the timeline,
it got delayed to a quarter after that. Is what happened.
The timeline in my head is fuzzy, but there was like a quarter, and then they were like, and then it just came and went, and nobody heard anything about that game for like a year. Like it just nothing. And then, and then they were like, yeah, we scrapped everything and the team's gone. And, I don't know. And then they were like, okay, the Chinese room's going to make it. And we're like, all right, whatever.
Well, no, there was a second studio.
Yeah. I skipped a couple steps in there, but
yeah, no. So, I mean, your timeline's close. What happened was it got revealed. Like people didn't know it existed. It got revealed and announced for a release date of February something 2019. And that was 6 months before. And then like shortly we got close to that date. And then like right before that date came, they said, okay, we're going to delay it to quarter something. And then that's when all that happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we've been dealing with it ever since. So there is probably a 90-something% complete awesome game out there that we're just not going to get. And we're going to get some different Chinese room game.
It'll get leaked someday. It'll fucking show up. The craziest thing about Vampire is that, you know, to get off topic a little bit here, but the craziest thing about Vampire is so many spin-off games have come out.
Yeah, even that multiplayer one.
That fucking original build of Bloodlines 2. And the game's still not fucking out. Like there was that weird like choice-based like narrative game that they made, like detective game. And then, yeah, there was the multiplayer game. I think there was another like narrative game that was like isometric.
Like, what are we doing with this? What is this?
It's insane. Yeah. So there's a lot of those names like that, and
Half-Life 3.
Yeah, Half-Life 3. But Stalker 2 has been one of those forever, and it's just very surreal to see this game like actually. This is going to be a game that's playable in 5 days. Like people are going to be playing this game. They're going to be talking about it. They're going to be giving their opinions. It's very strange to see.
You're going to play it?
Yeah, I'll probably check it out for sure.
You think it'll be good?
I don't know. I don't really have any expectations right now, to be honest.
Well, I'll say one thing.
I hope it's good, but like I don't think I know much. Who's developing it?
I don't know this name. I don't remember the name of the studio, but it is the same studio. Huh?
It's the same developer?
Yeah, I'm 90% sure it's the same developer.
It is.
Yeah, and you're leaving? Yeah. Okay, have a good night at work, dear. Be safe. So the thing about it is that it's the same developer, but that's what I was going to say is most of the time when games go through development hell, the problem isn't that it gets delayed several times and they work on it. The problem is that you have staff turnover and it moves developers like 3 or 4 times. That's
Changes
always
hands.
what causes the problem. Yeah. So I think Stalker 2 probably won't be I don't think it's going to have suffered from the development hell
No.
because it's been pretty much the same people working on it the whole fucking time. Whereas Duke Nukem Forever kept losing staff and eventually just got forced out. I don't know if you know much of the story there, but it got
No.
forced out and it was being developed by like 3 people for like 4 years.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying I'm not making those comparisons to say it's going to be bad. I'm just saying there's a lot of these, like
Yeah.
Dead Island 2 came out. That game was relatively good.
I think it swapped hands several times too, though.
Yeah. But I'm just making those comparisons to say to comment on how surreal it is that the game is.
It's crazy that we're
being
actually
released.
getting it.
Yeah. I think it'll probably be good. I think at least the only thing I would really be worried about is that they try to like modernize it too much. I don't know much about the development. I haven't watched many developer interviews or anything, so I don't know what their plan is, but I hope they don't try to make it too user friendly, basically, because I think that's a lot of the appeal to the original game is how I haven't played a ton of the original game, but that was what I liked about it, was how
it's very MSIM.
Yeah, and how unforgiving it was. Yeah, the comment says the same thing. I cannot wait for normies and the uninitiated to be angry. This game is just a stalker game. Like, I hope that's the case, because that's I think a lot of the appeal, that why people are even excited about this game in the first place. So if it can keep that sort of unforgiving nature, then I think it'll be good. I just hope it's not just another fucking game. You know what I mean? Oh, your mic's fucked.
It's crazy. It hasn't been doing this for a while, and now it's just back at it.
It's almost like you should get a new
mic XLR cable. Yeah.
It's almost like
I think
it's like almost identical to that exact situation. Is that you should get one, but
yeah, it's close. Not quite.
Not
that
quite,
situation.
but it's almost identical.
Yeah. I was just gonna make a Tarkov joke, so it's pointless now.
Yeah. So I think as long as it does that, I will be happy with it. But again, I'm not the audience that they're playing to. I'm not a huge fan of the first game. I haven't even beaten it. I've only played it for a few hours. I did like it, but I just haven't. It's one of those games that I just haven't gotten around to, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think either of us are like big Stalker fans. We're just industry regulars who are
industry veterans
appreciating its release. Yeah,
we're industry veterans. We're industry plants.
Industry plants. Yeah,
we're no.
Plants. What do they call it when you pretend to be a soldier? Something valor, false valor, or something like that. Stolen valor.
Stolen valor.
Yeah. We're not stolen valor game vets. We've been around since Call of Duty 2 for the Xbox 360.
Have I ever told you about my guilty pleasure YouTube watch?
What's that?
So you've heard of Stolen Valor?
As a concept.
Yeah, but have you ever seen like the videos where people confront people that have stolen valor? Those are pretty entertaining. But what I really like is there's the same thing. These videos are not as common. There's only a few out there, but people will fake Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belts. They'll fake having black belts and people will confront them about it. And those ones are the funniest.
I need you to send me one of those so bad.
I don't know why. There's not that many. There's not like as many as like Stolen Valor videos. There's also some for people that wear motorcycle cuts that are fake, like motorcycle gang cuts. Like
hell
vests. Yeah. Those ones are super good.
The whole existence of these scenarios is what's funny to me.
I know, it's the best because it's like it's just such a weird. I don't know. I feel like it's just so weird on both ends, you know.
I saw one video about the Stolen Valor thing that was really funny. because this guy was confronted for stolen valor because he was like wearing the camo fatigues or whatever in public, and they were like, you don't wear that in public unless you're faking it. And then he like had his IDs and shit on him, and he like handed it to him. He was like surrounded by a guy who was like screaming at him, being like, I'm a Marine, and I know when you're. And he's like, dude, and he like pulls out, he like hands him his papers. He goes, oh, and then they just disperse. It was so fucking funny.
Damn. Yeah, he did the old switcheroo. All Hank said all Steven Seagal movies. Yeah, there's a video I watched recently of Steven Seagal showing Alex Pereira moves in the gym and like how to punch. And Alex Pereira, if you don't know, is the light heavyweight UFC champion.
Yeah, right I'm a little bit familiar with him.
Yeah, and he's like showing him how to punch like a board, and he's like, you have to punch and bring the spirit into it. Like he's saying all this bullshit that he's just like making up in his fucking head. And it's just, he's done this many times in the UFC. Like he gets to meet all these UFC guys, and I think he took credit for like showing Anderson Silva some kick or something, like some bullshit. I can't remember, but I don't know how he's still allowed to do this, like how anybody like allows him to do this shit.
I would like to entertain the theory that he is actually capable of some crazy shit, and it's just like he pretends not to be.
Yeah,
but I know that's not fathomable.
That would be cool. That would probably be one of the most professional like put-ons in history. If some guy was like, I'm so powerful and I'm so strong that I need to like hide my power level by getting fat. And
yeah, no, I don't like not like he's intentionally hiding it, but like a weird martial arts movie where the ancient master is super unnassuming because he's fat and old, and he's like super capable, but you would never guess it because he's super lazy.
Yeah.
Do you ever watch any of those videos
like
that show
drunken master kind of
energy? Do you ever see those videos of where like somebody's talking about the shitty Steven Seagal movies, like the recent ones? Mm-hmm. And there's one where he does an entire fight scene while sitting down in a chair.
Oh yeah.
Did you ever see that?
Oh yeah. I'm very familiar with Steven Seagal.
So you've heard his Jamaican album?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. Me want a punani.
Yeah, dude. I don't. I'm so split on that because I feel like that should be illegal, but also I love that it exists.
Yeah, he's got a crazy history. Just I don't know. It's just so weird. He should probably be in jail or something.
Do you remember when he was just hanging out with Vladimir Putin for like a week?
Yeah.
Do you remember when that happened?
That's what I'm saying. Like, why does he get to do any of this? Why is he allowed? Who is it
that's what I'm trying to tell you, dude. He has to actually be some kind of ancient master. Maybe he has to have something.
They close the doors and they shut the cameras off, and he's like literally summoning fire from his hands, and he's like, there's like flames in his eyes, and they're like worshiping him like God or something.
That's I believe that Steven Seagal.
Oh, Mike.
I believe that Steven Seagal is actually twice as powerful as he pretends to be, and it's all just like a lazy front, and people are falling for it. That's what I believe.
It's a fair theory. It's a fair theory, but one I'm not willing to entertain because I hate him so much.
It's the only one that makes sense.
I don't even really like his old action movies that much, to be honest.
I've never seen one that I like.
I'm not a big fan of. There's like better movies from that era,
dude,
that are fun.
As someone who really likes old 80s like I don't even know what you call those, like meathead movies like Predator and shit like that, I don't think Seagal has one good one.
Yeah, that's fair. He's just he was an icon, I guess. It goes to show how much you can have how long you can sort of like milk a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can just milk a thing forever and like sustain off of it as long as you're smart enough. I use the term
He's been doing it.
smart hesitantly. Evan's still having cord problems as
I
canon
know.
now.
Yeah, shout out Sammy. Look, my whole thing is I wanted to wait until January of 2025 to get a new cable. I wanted to stretch this one for the rest of the year, and this has been ongoing since the summer.
It's been a while. It's been a while. I'm gonna have to like fly to where you are and like personally come into your apartment and hook it up
And
and then
install
go
a new
back
XLR
home.
cable.
Yeah, just to ensure. And then it'll still probably be fucked up the next time. You'll be like,
Dude,
it wasn't working. The new
dude,
one
it's
wasn't working.
the reason it's so fucking annoying because I the moment I started having issues with this cord, I went and bought another one. And the one I bought had problems. I had to take it back and get a refund. And I was so fucking mad about it that I just hooked this one back up and I've been using it. And I've been so upset that I didn't want to go get another one. And then it just became a running joke. And I was like, I'm just going to stretch it until 2025.
You're the only one that's having fun from the current running joke. This is just
I
to
know.
appease you. So anyways, somehow we got on, I don't know how we got to talking about Steven Seagal on Stalker 2.
I should have put him in the thumbnail.
Yeah, you should have next time. But Stalker 2's gone gold. One thing I did want to talk about was this new GOG preservation program that they announced.
God bless him.
I haven't seen too many people talking about this. I don't know if too many people know about this.
Yeah, we're on the bleeding edge of this news.
Cutting edge media right here. Gonzo journalism. They launched this preservation program, and it's basically it's a program where they take games and they enter them into this program, and then GOG commits their own resources to make sure that those games stay compatible with modern machines and future machines and updates. So if a game gets put in this program, then they just ensure that you can play it easily on your modern machine. Again, they're using their own resources to do this. So this is like just them putting up the money to make sure that these games are runnable. And basically like the outline of the program is that the game should work on current and future PC configurations, that it's complete, it's compatible, it has manuals, bonus content, DLCs, all that stuff. And then you can even use GOG's technical support with it as well. I think this is a really cool thing. Usually a lot of this stuff is done by the game community.
Fans.
Yeah, and it's not going to stop being done by the game community just because something like this is happening. And there's not a ton of games in it as of yet. Like they're launching the program with 100 games, and they're going to add more as time goes on. But games like Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3, Diablo, Heroes of Might and Magic 3, all older games that they're determining should be preserved for PC playability. But yeah, people usually this responsibility falls on the fans, and I think it is cool of GOG to step up and do something like this, because they'll probably get some more sales on these games, you know, if the program is a big enough marketer for them. But it's not like this is going to be raking in the dough, you know?
No, it's definitely not. And honestly, it's probably far more of a headache than it's worth, because they probably have to deal with contracts and licensing shit. And like the harsh truth is that most IP rights holders do not care about this. And at best, they're apathetic enough to let you get away with it, and at worst they actively push back against you. There's a lot of fan bases who try to do this shit, and publishers will send them cease and desists.
Well, you know, my mind, when we're talking about something with the games industry, my mind always goes to compare to like the film medium, because if you thought about something like this in movies, like it just doesn't really exist, right? Like if you make a movie, it just comes out, and then you release it in theaters, you put it on streaming now, you put it on physical most of the time, or some of the time these days, and then you're done. And maybe if the movie's really successful and in 15 years some new format comes out, which that's not even happening anymore, then you would put it on the new format and resell it. But even with, like old shows, they put them on streaming and they're not meant for the fucking aspect ratio, and it destroys the original, the original shot and the original frame of the show. So like even the bare minimum in movies and TV, they don't fucking, why would we go fix that? We made that 40 years ago. Why the fuck would we fix that? It's some bullshit. Who cares? It's not going to make us any more money. But with games, you have to make sure that this is updated, because it's not just a new format coming out every 15 years. It's a new hardware configuration coming out every year, 6 months, whatever. So, and having a game that's 40 years old, you always have the chance too that a game could get popular 10 years later, and then you never properly ported it to PC, or you never updated it for compatibility or whatever. So it's just, there's a whole other thing. There's a whole other aspect. And I feel like these companies are like, why the fuck would we update this game for compatibility 10 years later when we're not making any money on it? We're making barely any money on it. Why would we put more money into this to still make no money? And that's kind of how it's viewed. And it's a shame, because it makes older games harder to play. It makes these pieces of art harder to access. Luckily, the games community is passionate and big. If it wasn't, we'd be fucked. If we didn't have a ton of smart people that really gave a shit about this stuff, we'd be screwed. We're lucky that gaming is as big as it is, because there's 12 million Twitter accounts out there that are preserving, just like Shadow the Hedgehog spin-off games or something, like ports of deleted versions of Shadow the Hedgehog games. Like that's all they fucking do. Or like translating dungeon crawlers from the PS1. I
mean, recently, when I did that video on Perfect Dark, I played a completely unofficial PC port of Perfect Dark because a team had taken the time to completely decompile Perfect Dark from the N64 cartridge and make it PC compatible with like widescreen support and adjustable settings, like completely fan made. It felt like playing an official PC port, but it's all just stuff from GitHub.
Yeah.
And it's like a real PC port that could be sold on Steam and be better than most ports. Completely fan made, decompiled from a fucking ROM. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just, it's like that with everything. But to see somebody in the industry like stepping up, and it's not a huge move. It's not crazy. It's not groundbreaking that they're doing this with 100 games, but it is a step in the right direction, maybe other companies doing this, other people doing this, maybe it motivates them to make more moves in the right direction, so that this responsibility doesn't always fall on fans who are essentially 90% of the time unpaid and just doing it out of the kindness of their heart.
Yeah. Are there any games in this list that particularly catch your attention? Because I see like Blood Omen is on the list.
Yeah.
Alpha Protocol, obviously, but they made like a big deal about that one recently.
Yeah, Alpha Protocol is pretty cool.
It needed it. It needed it, man.
Yeah, Blood Omen. Speaking of Blood Omen, speaking of Blood Omen, you know how the last award show, or not, it was like the last announcement show, it might have been Summer Games Fest or whatever it was, they announced that Blood Omen was going to be on the PlayStation Plus thing.
Yeah.
They added Blood Omen 2 as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think that was
That's
today
pretty
or
cool.
tomorrow or something. Yeah, there's a lot of cool games on here. I mean, the OG Fallout's on here, Fallout New Vegas, Witcher 1 and 2, System Shock 2, Dragon Age, Diablo.
There's one game that I was kind of surprised to see on there called Crusader No Remorse. And I only know that because like 2 years ago, I saw some gameplay of that game and I was like, dude, I really want to play that. Maybe to make a video on it, but I just never got around to it.
Yeah, the Blade Runner PC game's even on here. So
Yeah, that one's been picking up a lot of traction recently. Like they
yeah,
even did a Nintendo Switch port for that one.
yeah, they did a limited run games release for that.
Fucking Jill of the Jungle.
Yeah, there's some out of pocket games in the list, but I do think it is
Yeah.
cool. You know, I think it's interesting, and it's certainly something to keep an eye on. I want to see how this list expands over the next few years or something if they keep this
me
up.
too. There's a lot of adventure games on here. They had like Riven and they had Dragon Sphere. I'm surprised by the amount of adventure games on there.
Vampire Bloodlines is on there too. Oh, they got
Oh
some.
yeah, it is.
They got some Leisure Suit Larry even in there for the Coomers.
Yeah, you got to
remember-
appeal to the crusties.
You remember Leisure Suit Larry?
I've never played one of those games in my life.
I've never played one either. I've never met anyone that's played one, but I do remember.
I've never met anyone that admitted to playing one.
That's true, but I remember seeing them in Game Informers all the time. I would see like reviews for them or like little ads or something for them, all the time. That was the only reason I even knew what they were, and I don't even think I knew what they were when I was a kid. I was like, "What the fuck is this game series?" Maybe I should do a Leisure Suit Larry series.
You should, dude. As a kid, I remember I totally understood what it was as a kid, but I did not get the appeal. I was like, dude, there is no violence in this at all. I like watched some gameplay footage of it, and I was like, dude, is anything gonna like happen? And I like read some comment. I was like, I must have been like 13 at the time. I like read some comments like, no, the point is like you're like trying to like score a date. And I was like, dude, this is a fucking waste of time.
Damn, that's crazy that you thought that way even as a kid.
Yeah, I've literally always been that way. I never had like the I guess like the horn dog phase. That never happened. I've always just been like violence obsessed. I wanted Doom 4.
Like even when I was a kid, I was like, my ideal game when I was a kid, the game I always used to dream about being made someday. I was like, when this game gets made is when we have achieved peak gaming. And it was like a true choice-based narrative game, like a true choice-based.
I always wanted that too.
Yeah, like literally actually 100 different endings, like genuinely 100 different endings, genuinely 100 different branching paths, you know, that sort of thing. Obviously it's
true,
like unattainable,
pure interactivity, like a genuinely every choice you make affects the way the game plays,
like a butterfly effect sort of thing in a game. Because when I was a kid, you would always see these games and they would be like,
they tout that and it wasn't real.
20 different endings. You can make any decision you want. And then you play it and you'd be like, yeah, this is fucking bullshit. But
yeah, Detroit Become Human is probably the closest we've ever gotten to that.
Yeah. That or like some like procedurally generated bullshit.
Like No Man's Sky or something.
Yeah, but you know, I think so. Even like when I was a kid, like that was like my ideal. Like it doesn't matter if there's fucking violence in it. I don't care. I just want to be able to make choices and have the choices.
Oh, you lost me.
And
I was with you. I was like, yeah, dude. I mean, I can remember being a kid and like wanting that. And you was like, I don't care if there's violence. I was like, oh, well, then what's the fucking point?
Dude, I was never I mean, I was kind of into the violence stuff when I was a kid, but like even when I would play, you know, when you would play GTA with your friends and like you would like, what my friends would do is they would play it and they would try to see how many stars they could get and then outrun the cops until they got killed. And then swap to the other person. And every time the controller came to me, I would use my time to do a mission. I would go do a mission. I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna go do one of the missions, and then it's somebody else's turn. Because like I was like, I don't fucking, what is the fun in just like blowing a bunch of shit up for 5 minutes? I can do that. I'm do that 100 times. Is that fun? No, I want to play the mission and see what happens.
All right, well that's fair. Yeah. I never had fun doing stuff like that either. Like I wanted violence with purpose.
Yeah, yeah. At
Yeah,
least
but
we can meet in the middle on that.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. Because I was in situations like that where I was like hanging out with people and they're like playing GTA and they would hand me the controller and I would just hand it back to them. I'm like, dude, I don't really want. You guys have fun. I'm just here to chill. Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't really want to do that. I want a narrative reason for the violence. This is a little bit of a tangent, but I used to get so spurgy about Doom, like 2016, whenever Eternal came out, because Doom Eternal took the franchise into like a more gamified aesthetic where the weapons were like floating, and they like moved away from like the gritty aesthetic of like Doom 2016, which was a little bit closer to Doom 3. And they tried to like play up the facts like, oh, it's a video game, there's platforming. And I used to get so spurgy about it because people would be like, oh, dude, it's just a fucking video game. What does it matter? And I would like be like, okay, then just make everything gray blocks and polygons. What the fuck do you care? Why does it? They're demons? No, get rid of that. That's not fun.
Yeah.
I want to kill the Unreal mannequin. I want all of the enemies to just be Unreal Engine mannequins.
Yeah.
Well, if it's just the game, if the gameplay is all that matters, why do you want a model there?
Yeah.
Only gameplay is what matters. Like the aesthetic is stupid. That's pointless. It's Doom. Why do you care about the story? That's stupid.
Yeah.
Just Unreal mannequins forever. Shut the fuck up.
That's all. I mean, that's
Clearly.
it's always a bad argument. When somebody's saying it's a video game, it doesn't matter, then you're not even having an argument. You're just talking to somebody that doesn't.
Yeah. It's
they're
like clearly a narrative purpose for what you're doing fucking matters.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So we can absolutely meet in the middle there. But I mean, like I was one of the people who loved Heavy Rain growing up. I think I probably beaten Heavy Rain like 10 or 12 times because I was just trying to get every potential like different ending and stuff.
I did that a lot when I was a kid. I loved Heavy Rain when I had the PS3. Yeah. That was probably, because it was like, as a kid, I was like, this is fucking, it's like a movie.
Yeah.
But it's a game. And like, I get to fucking decide what happens. This is sick, like
I remember my mind was blown this one time because I beat it, I think 2 or 3 times in a single day. And the third time I beat it that day was like the 6th time I'd ever beaten it. And that time I got a different sequence that I'd never seen before where Norman Jaden is like in a hotel room doing something. And I was like, fuck, I've never seen this before. And this is like the 6th time I'm beating it and 3rd time today.
I don't know how I've never talked about this in a video before, but one of the probably some of my best gaming memories are when you would replay a game and like something new would be in there, like
something you didn't see the other time. Yeah,
scene, like a whole new like sequence or a whole new level or something. That shit was fucking insane because you're like, I beat this. What is this? There's more game here. What the fuck? Like that's just so mind blowing. It was in those eras. I now, and there's probably something to be said about how lost that's become because more game isn't necessarily shocking anymore. It's not also
a lot of developers have fallen victim to what I'm going to now coin as the Bethesda effect, where they don't want the player to miss content. You ever seen that? Like they did that in Fallout 4. And then it's especially egregious in Starfield, where all choices are kind of fake because they don't want you to accidentally choice yourself out of content.
Yeah, I mean, it's not present in the same way. It's not present in choice-based stuff, but it's also really bad it's not even bad, but it's really present in Sony first-party games. Because all of those games, if you pay attention and you look at the trophies for every first-party Sony game, they specifically...
It's just for playing the game.
Yeah, they specifically make them very easy to get. Maybe you put in a few, 10, 20 extra hours in the free roam at the end, but every single one has free roam. You can't miss it. Every single one has all the chapter trophies. I mean, most games do, but they're all like the same formula of like you play through the game, you beat it, and then you go wrap everything up at the end after you're done in a free roam thing and get all the side quests and the collectibles and shit. They're all exactly the same because they don't want you to be locked out of the platinum trophy on a Sony first party game because that looks bad. So, but they're all like that too. They don't want you to miss anything. If you missed something, that would be terrible. We've made content that nobody saw. We've spent money for no gain, in their eyes at least. But those kinds of things, and I think there's people out there still that cherish those kinds of things, even in modern games. I do. I get excited, and it still happens to this day. I'll play games and maybe I'll beat it or something, and then I'll go back and I'll look up online like if there was secret stuff that I missed, or if there was like a secret scene or a secret level, and there usually isn't. It's like, no, you just saw everything. That was how the game was supposed to go. But I feel like I'm always yearning for like, yeah, if you would have grabbed this egg in this level and like put it here, there's like a whole fucking other scene that you could have seen,
Yeah. But I think more games need stuff like that for sure.
But it doesn't really happen that much these days because of what you said.
Yeah. That's a shame too, man. That's really a shame.
Especially, you're right, especially choice-based games though, because they don't want you to they want you to be able to see it all.
Yeah.
What the fuck is the point of a choice-based game if you can see it all?
As someone who bought Starfield like day one and was like really excited for it because I have enjoyed previous Bethesda games and I'm like a sci-fi nerd. I'll shit talk that game any chance I fucking get.
Yeah.
Pretty much every decision made in the development of Starfield was the wrong one.
Yeah. Yeah. That game. I'm honestly, I know it gets hate and stuff like that, but I'm honestly shocked that game is not more hated.
I'm shocked. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah. I am actually, now that you mentioned, I'm kind of shocked at the amount of people who do like that fucking game.
That game should having played it and talked about it and thought about it a lot. That game should be like one of the biggest fuck ups in like recent gaming history. And it just isn't. Like people are like, yeah, it was fine.
It deserves more flack than Cyberpunk got on release by far.
For sure. I'm not even a huge fan of Cyberpunk. It's fine.
I really like that game.
I don't really like the Cyberpunk aesthetic that much, but I'm biased, but I like that game more than Starfield, of course. Holy shit.
Dude, a shout out to Sloppy Joe. All my homies hate Starfield.
Yeah, we are pro Jima and we hate Starfield.
Yeah, fuck that fucking game, dude. They developed it for like 7 years or something. Like, where did it go?
I don't think Bethesda can keep doing this.
Dude.
I don't think they can keep taking almost a decade to make their next game and then just have it be fucking mid. Like, I don't think that's going to work forever. I don't know how Starfield sold, but I can't imagine that sticks around.
I'm really frustrated at how many developers are just giving up and moving to Unreal Engine. But I think Bethesda needs to give up and move to Unreal Engine.
Yeah, they can't though. They can't. They literally can't. The creation engine is too iconic and it's too connected to their brand at this point. I think if they moved to Unreal, they just lose everything they have.
Maybe, dude, but I feel like I would wager that at a bare minimum, half of the problems with Starfield were from the creation engine.
Yeah, probably. Well, yeah, that, and like you said, every decision that they made.
Yeah, the other half is writing problems, but everything is wrong with that game. They didn't have an internal developer Bible. Yeah, and they didn't have a game design document either, which is the most insane thing.
Oh boy, yeah. I mean, we could talk about Starfield for weeks.
The last thing I'll say is one of the lead writers, Emil Pagliarello, I think is his name,
Mhm.
talked about that on stage. He was like, "Yeah, we don't really do like design documents, so we never had that for Starfield." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I can fucking tell.
You know,
I can play the game for 2 hours and tell there's no fucking game design document."
you
I think
you remember what we were talking about last week with the idea of a visionary, like a head
Yeah.
creative, and then gathering this team of people to like collaborate and shape that vision and make it a reality.
Mhm.
Having a no game design document feels like the antithesis of that idea.
Well,
It feels
yes,
like just
but what's
doing whatever the fuck we decide.
crazy is that Starfield had that visionary.
Mhm.
One of the big things that a lot of the developers said about Starfield is that one of the reasons it took so long is that every decision had to go through Todd Howard's office to ensure that he signed off on it for his vision. So they didn't have a game design doc, but they did have the visionary.
Well, that is very much Todd, the you can climb the mountains, Howard. That's that version of him,
He will
coming
not
out.
ever live that down.
That's there's some good things about Todd Howard, but he has his shadow, and his shadow is to give into this
mountain.
to give into this fucking mountain bullshit. This, you can see it, you can go there kind of thing, and it's such a bad. It's the whole. I mean, it's the whole gaming market right now. It's bigger is better. There's more. We made it double. We doubled it. It should be better, right? If there's more, and it takes you 150 hours, but if there's nothing to fucking do, if there's no content, if it's not good, then what's the fucking point? You're just wasting my time.
You can't even climb the mountain in Starfield. There's like a box radius, and if you get to the end of that and there's a mountain out there, you still can't fucking go climb it. It's not No Man's Sky.
No, but you know what I'm saying. Like that's
I know what you're saying.
That's the
theoretically,
part of his brain where it's like, we should just make a fucking game where you can go to every planet. There's 1 billion planets, and you can go to all of them, and there's a Skyrim on every planet. You know what I mean? Like that's that side of him coming out. I feel like
too ambitious.
Too ambitious.
No Man's Sky actually did that though.
That's true. Yeah.
It just took them a bad reputation and like 4 years of repairing it. But
yeah, that part of
Star Citizen is actively doing that.
Part of that was, they got fucked with they got flooded and like lost all of their game and stuff too.
Mm-hmm. And to bless them, to their credit, they have not ever said this or admitted it. But there is huge amounts of speculation that Sony is to blame for a lot of the initial issues with No Man's Sky launch. Again, I don't think anyone at the developers have ever said this because they just took full accountability and worked on fixing the game. But based on what a lot of people have dug up about No Man's Sky, some of the things that they were saying in the marketing were kind of being pushed for by Sony, and that the game was released early by Sony. It was pushed out early by Sony. But again, that's just rumors. I don't know if that's even true.
Wouldn't exactly be shocking to hear.
Yeah.
They're known for doing that kind of stuff, and but I think at this point it's like, who even fucking cares? They're the good guys in the end. They
fixed it.
I think not taking accountability, or like taking all the accountability for it and just taking the responsibility, was probably the best PR move anyways. Because if they were like, this wasn't our fault, it was Sony's fault, then people would have been like,
that would have been a bad look.
Yeah.
And I think they've actually gone on to still make a lot of money, because I have not seen No Man's Sky go on sale one time. Not once.
I don't know about that, but I know that
it's never dropped in price. It's still $60.
That game's incredibly successful. It's
very successful.
Yeah.
It's still $60. It has not dropped in price, and people have been buying it in droves. And I don't know that it's never gone on sale, but I've never seen it on sale. So
yeah, they had, what did that game come out 10 years ago? Something
2016, I think 2016.
Yeah, like 8 years ago. They had 24-hour peak of 12,000 players. Like,
it's a fun game, man.
I mean, even at the beginning of the month, they had 20K players. Like, and
they did just drop a new update.
In September, they had 40K. For an 8-year-old game, that's insane. You know, I think, yeah, that game does super well, especially for, you know, like, I mean, it's not an ARPG. It's not an MMO. It's, you know, it's not a battle royale. It's not an FPS.
It's very different. It's very unique. Are you at all interested in their new like fantasy iteration one they're doing?
Yeah, I think that'll be cool. I actually forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Man No Fire or something like that, where it says sci-fi, it's fantasy, and instead of a galaxy, it's one planet. It's all one planet.
Yeah, I think Light No Fire.
Yeah, that's it. Light No Fire.
Yeah, I think any sort of any game that they're willing to try out next, I'm willing to give a shot, just because for people that weren't around during that time, or like weren't paying attention during that time, that game came out. I was super fucking excited for it. I bought it day one.
I did too.
I think I was like 16 or 17 at the time, and I took off work to like play it because I was so excited. And like it just wasn't anything that they promised. So much shit was missing from it, and it got so much hate for so long. And they just spent so many years rebuilding it from the ground up. Not from the ground up, but just rebuilding it, fixing it, adding stuff to it. And it completely flipped their public perception in a matter of like a few years. People just fucking love them now. And I think to be able to do something like that, not just abandon the game and not just walk away, is huge. So I think like anything that they decide to do, I'll check it out.
Well, what they did was so revolutionary that now they are the staple. They're the example.
100%.
Everybody, people call it a redemption story. They say, are they going to pull a No Man's Sky?
Yep.
You know, that's what they were saying about Cyberpunk. When Cyberpunk released and it had all these problems, everybody was saying, are they going to do what No Man's Sky did and support it for the next couple of years and fix this? And they kind of did. I think CD Projekt Red did kind of a halfway version of it. Like they fixed a lot and they did some free updates and they added a lot. And then the DLC did a lot, but they also did not deliver on their second DLC that they promised. So
yeah, they had to cancel. I think a lot of that stuff has to do with investors, though. I think the CD or the Cyberpunk story is pretty hairy when it comes to
complicated
shit like that. Yeah, because
they spent 7 years developing this huge, powerful engine, made one game and abandoned the engine and moved to Unreal 5,
like everybody else. Real Unreal Engine 5 hours. Do you want to talk about the Ubisoft thing?
I think we should talk some more about that. Maybe we should invite Ross back on, let him talk. He doesn't have much to say about it. He just released a video on it. So.
Yeah. Well, you tell me about it because you know more about it than I do.
There's honestly not a whole lot to say. The crew shut down their servers, and there's a class action lawsuit being pitched in California. And my understanding is that it was released under the pretense of valid through 2099. And obviously that wasn't upheld, but this is my speculation. I'm pretty sure the court's going to throw it out because they're going to say 2099 wasn't an official date. It was the absence of a date, because they do that. That's a known thing for, like, for instance, if you see a game come out like released on Amazon and it doesn't have a release date yet, it'll say 2099. But that's not, no one thinks that means that's when the game is releasing.
Well, it'll usually say like December 31st of whatever the next year is. Like
it does that. Yeah, it does that on Amazon.
But nobody, true, but if people will post that shit and then people will be like, yeah, it's just a placeholder date. It's not.
Yeah, but nobody is going to sue if it doesn't come out on that date.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I suspect that any half decent lawyer is going to point to that and say, look, anybody would reasonably understand that it's unfathomable that this company would support this game until the end of 2099.
Yeah, it's
And
probably well, I don't know. I'm not a fucking lawyer. I would
I'm not either.
assume if they're doing it, it's probably the best way to go about it. But I would, in my non-lawyer dumb brain, I would assume that there would be a better way to go about it, and that's to appeal to the license buying a product and not being able to use it side rather than a specific date.
You would think Ross has talked about that pretty in depth already, and that facet, that angle is completely awash in the US because our laws apparently don't. It's not illegal for them to do that, essentially.
Okay. Well, yeah.
That's something he's talked about, because he's talked about how it's so important that they push this in Europe, because the United States consumer rights laws just have nothing that allows us to pursue that angle here. So that's why he basically always says the US, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I think, yeah. And this is, for those who don't know, this is also the same game that Ross, who started the Stop Killing Games petition, has used as his example, and is sort of setting his precedent on, because it's one of the most well-known and egregious examples of this sort of thing happening, a game being shut down and people who paid money aren't able to play it anymore.
Yeah, because it was sold as a good and not as a licensed product.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think at the end of the day, I think it's better that this is happening at all, because I think more of these sorts of things starting to pop up is a good sign.
I agree. I think you're right. Every headline is actually a benefit it's in our favor.
Once more people start to know about this, if this gets to the point where like normal people are talking about this, that's good. That's like something could actually happen. If it's just us in our dungeons going, we bought a game and we need to be able to play it forever, then nobody gives a fuck.
Some spurgy video game content creator.
We're weirdos and nobody cares. They're like, play a different video game, idiot. And we're like,
they'll just say it's unreasonable to expect them to run servers forever.
Yeah. They'll just say, you're a loser.
Yeah.
And they're right.
Yeah, they're right. That's the problem. That's the problem, is that they are right.
They're right. Damn it. Yeah, no, I think like once, if more of this stuff starts happening, then more people start talking about it. And once it becomes a mainstream thing, then you don't have to have these grassroots campaigns anymore. It's in the cultural sort of like lexicon. People are talking about it. People know what it is. And that's when things start to get done. You'll probably see a bunch of really lame people like protesting in public and stuff, and it'll be embarrassing, but that's how stuff gets done in the country, unfortunately.
Well, an unfortunate
it doesn't
truth.
Look cool, but
I think you and I talked about this off stream months ago, where I said the problem with caring about anything too much is it's super lame.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Well,
yes.
That's the thing, is in order to accomplish something, you have to care a lot about it. But if you care a lot about anything, you're lame.
Yes. Yeah. This is my theory. This is my theory that I always, or that I don't know if I've talked about it before, but is that if you care about something, you should never talk to anybody about it ever, and you should keep it to yourself.
So unfortunately, in order to save certain things, we need stylistic martyrs.
Yes, people that are willing to look embarrassing for us.
We need people who are willing to look like a tool in order to save the things we like, so that we don't have to look like that and admit that we really care about something.
That's so good. Stylistic martyrs. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's a good shirt. Stylistic.
That's a really good shirt idea. Yeah. That's number 2. We got Projima and stylistic martyr. Oh man.
Damn. Yeah. Yeah, but you know, I probably fall with you on this whole thing. I don't really think too much will come of this. Maybe in a few years you'll see some website that you can go onto if you bought the crew, and you can sign up and they'll send you $20 because the class action lawsuit went through.
That would be the worst outcome.
I think that's usually what happens with class action lawsuits, you know?
They're like, we're not going to fix anything and this is going to accomplish nothing, but we'll send you a $10 voucher.
Just some sort of settlement, and then it gets split amongst all the people.
Yeah.
You know, but I think, but overall, in the grand scheme, it's better. Like this year specifically, we've had Stop Killing Games, which was huge so far, and then this thing, which is also happening at the same time. If more of these things can start popping up, it'll be good.
Yeah, GOG is doing a lot for it as well.
Yes, yeah.
That little initiative they're doing alone is going to accomplish a lot.
Yeah.
Because because they're like an official, like respected to a degree business, and they've got some pretty heavy hitter titles in there. And if that becomes a functional, like mildly efficient thing, it'll be a lot easier for them to start reaching out to developers, and developers being like, oh, this is like a thing that exists that's like real and like licensed. Okay, yeah, we want to be involved. Well, what do you need? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's gonna do a lot for the industry, I think.
Yeah, I agree. All right, you wanna wrap it up?
Yeah, we can wrap it up. Shorter episode, done a little bit earlier this week. As we get to the end of the year, and holiday seasons are coming up, things are a little bit more chaotic. We're getting thrown off schedule a little bit more, but we're still here. I think that's what matters.
We are still here. Yes, we have holidays. Listen, it's the busiest time of year for a YouTuber. Got brand deals I have corporate overlords I need to appease.
That's right. And finally, I can say I have one.
Hey,
not just you.
Look at that. Not just me.
Yeah, I've got a sponsor now.
Speaking of that, do you have a video coming out?
Yeah.
This Sunday.
God willing, all things work out the way they should. I'm currently exporting my retrospective on Killzone Shadowfall, which is pretty fun. It's the last major Killzone video that I'm doing until I put out the big full series compilation.
Hell yeah.
So that should come out on Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard.
The end of an era.
I've been talking about Killzone almost all fucking year.
Killzone era is about to be closed out.
That's right. What about you? What's coming out on your end?
I should have, again, God willing, an Alan Wake 2 video out on Sunday.
You've been talking about this one for a while. You had to wait for the DLC, and now it's finally here.
Yes, I've been grinding shit down all week trying to get this fucking video done. So yeah, hopefully it'll come out on Sunday. That's what I'm planning for. I'm gonna stay up late tonight and tomorrow and get it done. So go check it out on Sunday at 1 p.m. and then next Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Hopefully.
Hopefully I might be in the sea base, so we'll see.
The sea base.
We'll figure out what happens.
Are we doing something with that guest? Like, are we gonna have to move our timing around, or
maybe, but that's not till
down the line?
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. That's secret. Anyways, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Even if it's not, it is. Even if you get here at a different time and we're streaming at a different time, it's not. It's still 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just don't worry.
If something seems off, just assume we're right and you're wrong.
Across the board. Just assume that for everything. Next week.